We have a late night blockbuster trade to talk about, and it's a bit of a shocker. I mean, we all knew there was a pretty good chance JJ Peterka was going to be traded at some point, but it's the return for Buffalo that really surprised me. Here are the full details of the trade. The Utah Mammoth have acquired JJ Peterka from the Buffalo Sabres, and as part of this trade, JJ Peterka has signed a 5-year extension worth a total of $38.5 million, so that is an AAV of $7.7 mil. In exchange, the Buffalo Sabres are receiving Michael Kesselring and Josh Doan. That is it. No picks, no prospects. This feels like a very light return for the Buffalo Sabres, but we'll get into that more in a little bit. Let's first start off by talking about this trade for Utah. And I think this is an absolute slam dunk for them. Based off of everything that was being reported, I think we were all expecting Utah to make a big splash of some sort this offseason, whether that was making a trade like this or signing a big name free agent. And this is definitely a big splash. If you're a Utah fan, I feel like you have to be thrilled about the fact that Utah was able to pull something like this off without giving up their 4th overall pick. I think JJ Peterka is going to be a fantastic fit in Utah. They're a young up-and-coming team who were looking to add some scoring punch in their top 6. Their offense was a bit top-heavy this past season. They didn't get a ton of depth scoring. So bringing in somebody like JJ Peterka, who's coming off of back-to-back 25-plus goal seasons, should help take some pressure off of guys like Clayton Keller, Logan Cooley, and Nick Schmaltz, and Dylan Genther. Adding an offensive talent like that overall just makes Utah, on paper at least, a much deeper and a much more dangerous offensive team. And the best part is, he's still just 23 years old. He fits right in that age group with a lot of Utah's other important core pieces. When you consider all the moves Utah's front office made last offseason, reshaping the blue line, and now this JJ Peterka trade this summer, I think it's pretty clear that they want to get this team into the postseason sooner rather than later. And honestly, I think they're going about it in the absolute best way possible, not by going out and throwing huge contracts at aging veterans in free agency, but instead trading for players, referencing last offseason again, like Mikhail Sergachev, and now JJ Peterka, who can come in and help Utah win right away, make them a better team immediately, but also be huge building blocks for them long term. So again, absolutely love this trade for Utah, and I really think Bill Armstrong hit a home run here. Shifting focus now and talking about this trade for the Buffalo Sabres and the return that they got in Michael Kesselring and Josh Doan. Now, even though I said that this return feels light for Buffalo, just compared to what I was expecting them to get for JJ Peterka, I'm not going to sit here and act like I think this is one of the worst trades of all time. I actually do really like Michael Kesselring, and I think he's going to be a great fit on the Sabres. He's a right shot defenseman, which is something Buffalo has desperately needed. He should round out their top 4 nicely. He's big, moves well for his size, put up pretty solid two-way results this past season, and he's still only 25 years old. He's signed through next season at a very cheap cap hit of just $1.4 million, which I'm sure the Sabres cheap owners absolutely love. So I don't really have any doubts that Michael Kesselring will be a pretty impactful defenseman for the Sabres, but honestly, I feel like this trade for Buffalo is really riding on what becomes of Josh Doan, because even though I like Kesselring's game, at the end of the day, he is a second pairing defenseman, hasn't gotten a ton of minutes on special teams up until this point in his career. Maybe there's another level he can get to, playing bigger minutes in Buffalo, but ultimately, I think he is what he is at this point, and that is just, a really solid two-way middle pairing defenseman. Whereas JJ Peterka, I think, has the potential to be a real game breaker, a guy that can score 30-plus goals in a season and be around a point per game. So if Josh Doan doesn't pan out and doesn't become an impactful player for the Sabres, this is a trade that I definitely think a few years from now is going to be looked back at as an absolute fleece job by Utah, because you just don't trade young top 6 forwards with star potential for middle pairing defensemen. So that's why I think if this is going to turn out to be a good trade for Buffalo or not is really riding on what becomes of Josh Doan. And I will say, even though he spent some time in the American Hockey League this past season, what we have seen from him at the NHL level I think is pretty promising. The counting stats don't really jump out at you with just 7 goals and 19 points in 51 games, but he was playing very limited minutes and his underlying numbers look phenomenal. So if you're the Sabres, I think there is reason to believe that Josh Doan in a bigger role could become a pretty impactful middle 6 winger, maybe a guy who can get you 20 goals in a season. But if not, like I said, I think this is going to be looked back on as a pretty brutal trade trade for the Buffalo Sabres. For Buffalo Sabres fans' sake, I'm really hoping that doesn't happen because, man, it just feels like every move that the Sabres have made over the last 5-6 years just seems to be the wrong one. Right when they traded Jack Eichel, he goes and wins a cup with Vegas. Sam Reinhart obviously has become such a huge important piece for Florida. He's won multiple cups with them. It really just feels like the Sabres just can't have nice things, which is super unfortunate for Sabres fans. Those are pretty much all of my immediate thoughts on this trade, though. As always, I want to know what you guys are thinking, especially if you're a fan of either Utah or Buffalo. Sound off down below in the comments. Let me know how you're feeling. And if you made it all this way to the end of the video and you ended up enjoying yourself, I know it's a bit of a late one, but please be sure to remember to leave a like. It's the best way to let me know that you enjoyed, and it does help out the videos a ton. And most importantly, if this was your first time checking out the channel and you want more NHL content just like this all year round, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will talk to you all again soon.